All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to all. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is June 13th, 2022. Happy Monday, and let's go ahead and just dive right in. We have a pretty volatile open this morning as we have another pretty dramatic gap down open after our session on Friday. Left a lot wanting for the bulls as we were seeing some precipitous selling into the CPI data, along with the breakaway from our overall just balance range that we were analyzing last week. So as always, let's take a look at what did the market do last week. Was it of a dramatic import in regards to expected move? And what does that do for the expected move this week, along with some cautionary tales that the market is throwing? So first and foremost, last week we were looking at about 101 expected move. And that's going to be marked by these 42.10 and 4008 price levels that defined the expected move pricing relative to the Friday close from the prior week. Now, when we look at expected move each and every week, we're talking about what is the option market expecting for the market to basically close within. And like most things, this is simply a probability. The idea is that most of the time, about 68 to 70% of the time, you're going to see closure within these expected move bounds. Markets may move outside, they might trade outside for a period or two, but often they will close inside or near these price levels. Now, last week, the option market was overall a bit lackadaisical. We weren't seeing a lot of volatility hedging. There definitely wasn't a rush towards exposure on long volatility. And we were noting just the complacency of the market as a bit of a risk. As we can see, the reaction from last week has exacerbated this risk, and the market is rushing to reprice some of these changes in very dramatic fashion. Of which, just to kind of show what that looks like, we'll look at volatility and how it's changed over the past couple days, along with the idea that putting on volatility exposure is often something you want to do during calm or relatively complacent markets, with the expectation that this is going to change with any catalyst. Now, I also want to note that last week we did see a close outside of expected move. In fact, if you're looking simply from close to close, we're looking at about a 2 sigma move last week. Now, we've seen this before. We've actually seen price activity move to these levels, but most of the time you're going to see a very quick return into the expected move. However, 2 weeks prior was a similar action. We saw the S&Ps have a 2 sigma move to the upside. And this was a market showing a little bit of inefficiency. The market was pricing volatility incorrectly. And remember, volatility is not necessarily bearish. It's just showcasing the potential for movement, the speed, and the overall capacity for price change. Now, 2 weeks later, we have another 2 sigma move. The market is showing that short-term volatility pricing is, for the most part, quite risky. And this is a bit of a cautionary tale for those who maybe are trading in the short-term volatility ranges. Be very careful with looking at exposed volatility strategies. You want to be thinking things that are pretty much open-ended to risk. You also want to be thinking about using the expected move as your risk range, because based on what the S&Ps are doing, this is not necessarily working very well as of the past couple of weeks. We've had 2 sigma move on this particular week. And then, of course, last week we closed well outside of that 101 point bound. So for the week ahead, what should we be looking for? Well, based on option pricing, and remember, this is something that you can do inside of Thinkorswim, or you can simply grab this number when the market closes on Friday. But for the week ending on the 17th, also remember this is a monthly series, so you will have an AM series as well. You don't necessarily want to use this one. You want to use the one closing on Friday's close. This particular series is pricing about 131.85 of expected movement. And what that means is our expected move should be somewhere within about 131 point bound. But where do you measure from? Remember, you're always measuring from a Friday close. So we're thinking from 3,900, a plus or minus 132 point expected move. Now, unfortunately, I did not get a chance to draw these price levels, but 3,900 plus 132, that's going to bring us to approximately 4,132. So we'll have basically a high side bringing us slightly underneath our previous consolidation range. And then what does our downside look like? Because a lot of people agree, especially with this open this morning, that the market has a very real chance of continuing its downtrend and obviously cracking through our 20% drawdown from all-time highs. Our downside from a 3,900 close minus 132 is going to bring us to approximately 3,770. That is essentially below where we sit currently, but it's not too much farther down. And what this means is, based on how the market moves this week, we're looking at a much wider expected move. Obviously, the volatility has changed. But additionally, we're already testing close to the lower bounds of our expected move this week. If we see any more dramatic downside activity, prepare for what the market can do outside of expected move, which is often volatility hedging type price activity. This is often going to look like downtrends and uptrends without any sort of counter activity, usually no pullbacks. The bounces are going to be mild, if not non-existent. And often when you get into those periods of time, it's going to be very hard to play reversals or counter trend type strategies without a lot of basing or just consolidative price activity. So just as a warning this week, one, we're seeing price levels that are a bit unexplored. Obviously, if we continue lower, this is going to be a fresh fear low in the market. We're also going to be seeing a move into bear market territory. This red line marks our 20% drawdown from all-time highs. We are sitting currently below that on this morning's session. And from an expected move perspective, we've already moved about 2/3 of what the option market priced. So volatility, short term especially, has not been a great judge of what the market can actually do week to week. And understand that when we get outside of it, volatility has to accommodate for the change. Now, what does this look like from our volatility products? If you recall last week, I mentioned quite heavily the idea of this trend line. Where does volatility react? And where does the market tend to find sharp volatility reactions so far? Well, as we can see, this has acted once again as quote unquote a buy zone for volatility futures. We're seeing a very sharp reaction off of this trend line over the past couple days. We're also seeing our VIX spiking from an area of interest, kind of a rising trend line here. once again, not trying to be too technical on volatility products, but trends matter. Where do market participants tend to change their bias? And this, as long as we see the signals, is where we should be participating as well, because the more likely scenarios of what has happened will continue to happen until something changes. So we're seeing downside activity. We're seeing volatility spike where it should. We're also seeing a rush towards volatility itself, i.e. the idea of paying for premium, paying for hedging. This is usually indicative of the volatility starting to increase, basically the acceleration of volatility. And usually I like to look at the VVIX. This shows whether or not there is some larger participation inside of hedging. Usually institutions going out paying for that exposure, and usually they're the ones that are going to drive the market in regards to volatility hedging activity. You want to be thinking about selling futures contracts into the selling, i.e. hedging into hedging. This can continue for quite a while until the market stabilizes or we get some news to counter this trend. So with the markets opening in this position, it's worth mentioning that the strategy today is going to be one of a little bit of a cautionary approach. Whether you're looking to basically try and time some bounces in this market, the thing I'll caution you is be aware of where the expected move lies for the SPX. Be aware that we are testing a fear low in the market. This is something that ultimately can break. And if it does break, expect a lot of follow through as we get more and more long starting to liquidate. You'll get stop losses starting to hit, and you'll also just get that fear into fear as we are hitting into bear market territory. Additionally, start looking at what sort of products are driving the move. One thing you might see today is a very correlated market. Usually you're going to see this more so when you get outside of your expected move bounds for the first time. That's often indicative of the type of hedging I keep referring to. But if you're looking at our gap down list this morning, most of our key underlyings are going to be down anywhere from 2 to 4%, with some actually being down much more. Usually in a correlated market, there really won't be many areas of the market that are countering the dominant trend. So if we do see maybe some precipitous selling continuing today, expect a lot of correlation across most sectors. And as always, there's going to be some sectors that are driving the S&Ps. You want to be thinking your tech and your consumer discretionaries, which are overall net weak sectors. They're the ones that are going to have the most market cap weight in regards to some of the selling. You also want to just note things like healthcare, which are once again coming into very key support areas and trying to breach after last week's activity. So if all of our key sectors are selling at the same time, there really isn't much of a case for the S&P to bounce. And usually what you'll see is that the bounces will be muted or just low opportunity. They'll have very limited upside, assuming that we enter into that period of a more dynamic hedge to the downside. Another thing to consider is that even strong sectors amidst this type of volatility may see some potential for downside. Now, energy is one of those names where I think a lot of people are maybe scouting for some relative tops, just mostly due to the overextension of the market. You'll note that XLE last week did put in a bit of a weekly topping tail, going not necessarily parabolic, but we are quite extended from our moving average support and just our dominant trend lines. You'll also note things like crude, which are opening the week this morning, flat to week, I should say. not really down significantly. And these are maybe areas of the market to watch if you're starting to maybe scout some short-term pullbacks, whether it be in energy or in just generally stronger sectors, ones that haven't necessarily seen the brunt of the market. Usually when everything is correlated, there really isn't anywhere else to hide. Most things will either sell or buy at the same time, mostly because baskets of stocks are getting sold and bought. And usually this is due to how volatility hedging works. Mostly going to be coming from ES futures buying and selling. There's also a bit of news in regards to natural gas. I haven't looked into that news heavily, but a bit of I believe a physical fire that occurred in one facility. This may provide a little short-term volatility in natural gas. Obviously, still a very strong uptrending market, but you'll note I'm starting to simply mark the highs and lows here. Every time this market does make a new swing high, the follow through is pretty poor. As soon as we breach that high, the market has to pull back. As soon as we breach that high, the market has to pull back. It's usually indicative of a bit more distributive price activity. Markets essentially struggling with the size of the momentum at this point in time. And most traders will kind of get tossed around during this volatility, depending on their risk. But it also indicates that if we start to break trend, this can look more or less like a rising wedge. So energy markets across the board are still where a lot of traders are looking for long exposure, but it's once again getting a bit long in the tooth. And just like anything, something that goes straight up has potential to come down just as quickly. So be looking for those parabolic tops. Don't get caught near the highs. Understand that even with a strong market, you're supposed to be buying off of the trend line, off of support, off of moving averages. You're not necessarily buying these overextended highs expecting more follow through without taking a lot of risk. So be very careful with energy plays moving forward, especially if we have a market that is correlated. Let's see. There was one other thing I wanted to showcase here. We'll look at this kind of from the perspective of gold and silver. Both of these markets have underperformed. They've collapsed with a lot of the strength in the dollar. So as we go back to our dollar, you can see that none of this trend change has really come to fruition. Market has returned to basically a position of elevated dollar, lots of risk-off behavior across the board. And we could basically look at this as another buy swing that's likely to pull back and continue. But if we're also looking at what that's doing to certain commodity markets, there is potential here for what is the Fed going to do this week and how are traders starting to position around these probabilities. If you're of the opinion that the Fed is going to stick with their 50 basis point hike, then a lot of trade is going to be centered around that basically known potential. However, keep a close eye on what changes are starting to occur with regards to the probability for the Fed to make a certain percentage change this week. If you look just based on today's pricing, and this is the meeting that's going to occur on Wednesday, the probability for a 75-point basis hike has been increasing. Currently, we're looking about essentially a 1/4 probability. So a 1 in 4 chance that the Fed will simply have to accelerate their directive and move into a more aggressive rate hike policy moving forward. Now, this looks like, still very skewed to the 50 basis point, which is true. There's basically a 3/4 chance that we're still going to see 50 basis points this week. But it's worth mentioning the change and the rate of change that this probability has taken over the past week. If I'm looking just 1 week ago, and it's kind of hard to tell, the colors are not very well highlighted. 1 week ago, a 75-point basis hike was only priced at about a 3% probability. So it was basically a non-event. Market gave it sort of that outlier case. In a period of just 1 week, we've gone from 3% to our current probability, which at least at the time of describing sits at about 1/4, so 25%. That's a big rate of change. You want to be thinking just from the probabilistic perspective. We've almost, let's just say it was 5%. We've basically quintupled that potential. Going from 5% to 25% basically gives the market 5 times more likelihood of getting that 75-point basis hike. So these changes are shaking the market. They're basically forcing the market to reprice around these probabilities and obviously take a more risk-off posture, which from our perspective looks like selling. So keep all this in mind. There's a lot of dynamics going on in this current condition. We're also seeing just one meeting further. You'll look at something like your target rate for the next meeting, not the one this week, but in about a month and a half. Most of the market is starting to price a higher probability that we're going to be sitting at least one 75-point hike in between now and 2 meetings from now, which essentially means that by that meeting, if we look at the current, the market has given a higher probability that one of them will be a 75-point basis hike. Doesn't have to be this one, but basically the market's saying one of those meetings will have to be accelerated. So this is what the market is responding to. It's what the market tends to be focused on in the short term, and there's a lot of, obviously, uncertainty with what these numbers are going to be based on what we saw on Friday. So all in all, how to behave in this market. I would say first things first, have your risk in check. If you're out there selling premium in short dated expirations, know that this market is not responding very well to expected move. We're seeing breaches. We're seeing a lot of higher volatility than what the option market predicts. And all that means is you're simply not getting paid to sell short-term premium. So be very careful doing so. And obviously, if you do so, keep it risk defined. Keep it to where no matter what, you have a well understood max loss, especially if you are wrong on both direction and volatility. Another thing to keep in mind is while the market obviously is looking a bit bearish this morning, during volatility, we can see rallies of unprecedented magnitude essentially occurring out of nowhere. As I mentioned, we're kind of already on the edge of the expected move. I'll go ahead and draw those out for tomorrow. If we see a test of, let's say, about 37.70, that brings us 130 points down from Friday's close. That's basically what the market priced in last week. And if volatility is still climbing, the market's going to often see some whipsaw, some risk aversion around those price levels, along with the idea that we could breach once again. We did so last week. Makes sense for us to basically see another potential breach this week. So be very aware that that could happen and what sort of behavior the market can take whenever that does occur. Last but not least, I would say for establishing trade this week, there's obviously this idea of maybe getting net short or starting to short into this momentum. While that can be obviously a profitable endeavor, allow for the market to potentially define your risk a bit better. Yes, this move has been pretty fast, and due to the speed, we're already in kind of an oversold condition. We've basically lost multiple weeks of buying in the period of a couple of days. That kind of adheres to the idea that some of these upside moves in the market can be quite aggressive. So whatever the bounce looks like, if we get one this week, let me pull this up to the SPY. Just know that during these rallies, this is where you can often start to position yourself for the next wave of downside momentum. If you're stepping in now, this is certainly a breakdown area. It's a fear low. It's the market basically making new price assertions for the first time this year. Getting below that 380 mark is going to be pretty critical. And obviously, with every fear low, we can move much lower without a reactionary low occurring for quite a while. But in that period of time, understand that the rallies against you might also be quite challenging. So however you decide to do so, a lot of trade kind of centers around this relative high, which was set last week, along with what does a shorter term rally look like. So don't forget your technical skills here. Obviously, the more dramatic the downside, often the more dramatic the bounces can be. Understand that a bounce occurring from a low can actually continue for quite a while. Don't be so willing to step in short unless you have clear signals to get short once again. And additionally, if you are more of a long bias trader, be looking for the market to define what a bounce looks like. We might set some aggressive lows, you might step in aggressively, but the market's not necessarily going to reward your aggressiveness. I often find that during precipitous sell-offs, the type of reactionary low that has to be set first is often going to be the thing that stops most people out, especially the more aggressive long traders. So be very aware of that style this week, especially with the volatility expanding. Keep things kind of relatively tight, and also understand with a higher volatility, you're often looking for bigger moves. Market was choppy last time we spoke. We were basically trading in this range. That has changed. We have a direction, we have bias, and we have volatility on our side. Understand that this is where day traders can actually shine, but you have to be willing to understand what the market's risk profile looks like. So with all that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. We'll talk more on this tomorrow. Stay tuned for pre-market prep and trade safe.
All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you guys are having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible weekend. All right, guys. Let's get started here. Good morning, Norm. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Weekend was good. We had a good time with the family. Had my nephews come down from Florida. Well, up from Florida, and that was a whole lot of fun. So yeah, things were good, man. Had a great time.
Nice.
Um, All right, guys, let's get to it. Guys, again, we are having some technical issues with the chat room, so we will be on YouTube today. Again, there's a note in the chat that I see here with the link. So if the moderators can help us, as new people come in the chat to kind of join us on YouTube here. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome, Norm. What a morning so far, to say the least. Let's go right to it. Let's go to the overall market and the SPY and what's happening there.
Yeah, man. We are down 2.8 on the Qs, 2.1 on the SPY. Rough week last week after those inflation numbers came out. The VIX spiking. Looks like it's up, a whopping 17.5% this morning. So we're finally getting some of that panic. I commented a few weeks ago that we've had this substantial slide with
Yeah.
very little VIX movement. And the VIX, some people nickname it the fear gauge
Hmm.
for the market. And usually you see it spike at least into the mid 30s when you get some of this hardcore selling, and we're finally getting there. It's still not. I mean, it's high right now, but it's not super elevated. I think it was 20 low 20s when I mentioned it last time. So a few days, and we're getting this huge spike on the VIX. Um, yeah, so we've got a massive down list. Um, we'll see how the day goes, man. All that we've got on the up gappers are a few low floats and a Chinese trash stock, but
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting, and the part about the VIX too. I mean, it is interesting to see what's happening and that not spike up the way it normally does. So, well, we'll keep an eye on that as we move forward here
and you
throughout the
can't.
week.
And Bitcoin
Yeah,
it got below 24,000 earlier. 23,400 low, down 5.5% this morning. Down, I mean, huge from last week. So
yeah,
uh, yeah,
big drops
there was
there as
some
well.
some panic there with one of the Bitcoin players not allowing sales.
that
So
is not a good thing. Um, All right, guys, as we continue here, let's take a look at our gappers list this morning. As we mentioned, not a whole lot looking great, but we have three on the gap up list. We have Dawn. Let's link our trade ideas here. Tools, external linking, and we'll get our trade ideas to link up here to our montage. Here we go. All right, let's see what we got here. So let's go to Dawn. Dawn this morning taking off here, guys. It is up 107%. I mean, look at this thing. What's the news on this? And this is not Dawn the soap, the
yeah,
dish soap, right? This is
no, this
something
is
else.
not. This is a bio. No, this is a biotech. They had news, initial data on a trial for a cancer treatment, pediatric cancer. So popping on that. Not an uncommon thing to see these smaller
Yeah.
biotechs pop when they get some news like that.
Yeah, guys. So up 108 now and climbing some good volume, 4.8 million. Float on this thing is 22 million. So a little bit on the higher side, but still be careful, guys. You got to be
You mean lower side?
still on the lower side. Yeah, you got to be very careful with
Yeah.
this, guys.
I
Um,
will say FinViz says it's a 41 million share
mhm.
float. So there's some discrepancy on the data there. I'm not sure which one is more accurate.
Yeah, yeah,
But still, these can be very volatile.
yeah. That dropped just a second ago. Just dropping 40 cents, really quickly. So just keep in mind how
Yeah,
much this thing can move when you are taking, when you decide to, if you decide to trade this, and how many shares you're going to take. Be very careful. And at the market open, the drops can be even more aggressive. So be mindful of that. Next, we have Redbox here. Redbox, it is up 33%. It continues to make these big moves in the intraday. We saw that Friday here going from 10 or 9 or so to about 15. The top of that that day, and then today we're up another 33%. So again, the news on this thing continues to push this forward. I don't know if part of it is the news or if it's memeing a little bit. Could be a bit of both. But just be careful on that one. Definitely in play, guys. Up 33%. This is also a low flow at 8 million shares float. It does have a very high short interest at 37, at least right now. And remember, that is a 14-day at least 14-day delayed or whatever the case may be. That could have changed, especially on Friday. You know how many people are out of their position after this thing moved up $4 or $5. So but still have it in the back of your mind there. That could be something that can make this explode a little bit. So Redbox, we'll put it on here next to Dawn as well. And then we have EDU, which you guys know I don't like this one. This is a Chinese education company. Again, just doesn't trade very well. So we'll move down to what's gapping down today. Let's see MSTR.
So everything.
Yeah, so everything else. Let's move down to the whole entire market.
Our pre-market show is done.
It's
fastest show ever. We're done in 3 minutes.
Absolutely. We are doing only the top 5, and then I'm going to scroll down and look at some favorites that I like. We're not going to go through this entire list because we know what's happening here. Obviously, the catalyst here today, except for some of these which are just getting destroyed. It's just the market. And actually, some of these is the market. Coin, Mara. I mean, these are Bitcoin stuff,
MSTR, Coin, Mara, those are all Bitcoin.
MSTR is Bitcoin as well? This one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
They have a massive Bitcoins, or massive crypto stake.
So it is insane. I've spoken to a lot of my friends that just got into trading about a year ago or a year and a half ago when crypto was going crazy. The market was trending. Everything was going north. And the majority of those people have just lost money. Like I've been in a couple of group chats where they were sending their their P&L. I don't trade crypto, so I send my regular P&L. They're sending their P&L on crypto coins, and those chats have gone completely dead. I mean, there's just no conversation at all because things are just this bad. So here's Coin, guys. Coin this morning is the one I prefer to look at, so I will have Coin on my list. I'm going to add that on there. MSTR, this one, man, this one's down big too, guys, 25%. I don't think I ever looked at this one before, so I don't know how good it trades in comparing it to like a coin. I know coin can get the volume, it can trade very decent. So again, I'm going to go with coin because I've just never seen MSTR before. So I'll stick with coin. Mara, we know has been very choppy. Today could be the day, right? Today they're down 15%. Today could be a day where you watch this one. But I think I'm going to put all my eyes on coin, really. I think that has been the better choice. And if you look at the pre-market now, they got one of the best volumes right now. Right? They got 1.1 million. Mara's not too far with 740. But look at the pre-market activity, how clean this is. So that's going to be the go-to for me today. All right, and let's look at COGT. What is this? This is down 15%. Bioscience company looks like. Doesn't look interesting. Let's head down to UPST.
That's on a secondary.
Horrible news. Horrible catalyst. Here, UPST down 7% to 10. Again, we've seen this in the past year. Is this what is this again? Remind me, Norm. This is a battery company, is it? I forgot
Upstart?
what UPST. Yeah, what is this?
No, it's financial.
Financial. Okay.
It's AI, financial. Nobody really knows.
Yeah. All right. So I'm not a fan of the way it trades. So therefore, again, you can see we have zero interest on this UPST.
That's all the things that have been popular the last couple of years, and now they're being annihilated for it.
Yeah. High short flow interest at short interest at 31.78 there. So it's a little bit on the high side. But again, I'm not interested in that one at the moment. Here's A-Firm, guys. A-Firm down a 6.3. I just think we're going to find something a little bit better. We'll look at two more on the top of the list here. STNE. STNE is one that we've seen before. It doesn't trade very well. Let's look at SQ here. SQ this morning down 6.4. SQ could be okay. It's not going to give you a great pre-market activity. We know that. Do they have any other news, Norm, besides just them dropping here? No. Okay. So
on what?
On SQ, do we have anything?
Bitcoin.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that Square now is very heavy in the Bitcoin space.
Block.
Yes. Yep. They changed the name to Block now, right? Yeah, Block. It's not even Square anymore. They just haven't changed their ticker, but they used to be Square and it's Block now. All right, so guys, we are all set. I'm not gonna go through this entire list, just so many. I am gonna look at some favorites, right? Which today I'm gonna keep a close eye on because just the way the market is moving. That is going to be Apple, of course. We're gonna have Apple on deck. Let's take a look at some of the other Qs type companies. AMD looks decent as well, down 4.7. Apple down 2.9. I'm gonna have AMD as a possible there. I'm gonna take a look at Nvidia. And let's see what's going on there. Nvidia, you can look at Nvidia as well. I mean, hold on a second. That is my low flow list. Yeah, AMD doesn't go there. AMD goes right up here in our secondary list. I'm gonna put in AMD, Nvidia, and then just trying to think someone that I like. How's the travel companies doing? Let's look at American Airlines. They're down 3.6, but not a whole lot of action as far as volume. So I don't see anything great happening there. United also very quiet. CCL for the most part it has 1.1, has a better volume, so maybe it's a possible. Just want to keep an eye on different things other than just old tech companies here. And let's take a look at financials. Bank of America down 2.8. West Fargo. What's West Fargo? WF. I forget their ticker. WFC. There we go.
Yep.
WFC. Maybe West Fargo. I'll take a look at that in JP Morgan. I'll add as a possible just to kind of get an idea of what's happening in different areas. JP Morgan is down 2.4, 80,000 shares traded. Again, look at the daily here, guys. The last couple of days just getting destroyed. So got a couple of possibles there. We got travel, we got tech, and we got Bitcoin. Norm, anything you like on your end?
No, I hate these big down days.
I know you do.
They are my least favorite market to trade. So probably just sit on the sideline and see if anything pops up later, maybe any news plays. I want to see how the market reacts to this big drop this morning.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Guys, before we forget, let's give a big thumbs
Very
up.
few of these are in play on their own catalyst.
Yeah, they're all just, again, if they do have a catalyst, I don't think it's big enough to kind of move away from what the overall SPY is doing, right? The SPY is in charge right now. So, guys, big thumbs up over to Jared every morning, engineering the markets. Well, Monday through Thursday. It sounds like this morning he's feeling a lot better. So let's give him a big thumbs up for getting up so early and putting some information for us together there, giving you the macros of the markets and all that good stuff. All right, let's head over to our chat, guys. I can look at both YouTube and our chat as well. So I'll try to look at both at once. So just send out your tickers. David Russo, you're giving us CCL. We'll start there. We'll look at Facebook too. I won't miss you there. CCL, again, I have it on here. It has volume. Doesn't look great right now, but I think at the market open, depending how things go, this can be a good one. But it's going to be tough to take our eyes away from Apple, AMD, NVIDIA, and even Coin when these guys have so much volume already, and they're going to be following the market. Whether we continue to head south here or if we bounce back up, we can still find plays on both of those. So again, we're going to be looking at the SPYs. You don't see it on your charts, but if I scroll down enough, you can see. Let me see here. Yeah, you can see down here, I have the SPYs, the Qs, and Bitcoin. I have IWM down at the bottom there. So it doesn't come up on your list because it's way down. But yeah, we're watching those for sure. All right, let's see. Fabio, Neo. Let's take a look at Neo and Baba. Let's see what's happening there. So Neo today, they're down 4.3, 1.6 million. I know we had the Chinese stocks again with the easing of the regulators did some nice pops here. So they have some positive news on their end. But again, that's just all being overshadowed by what the market is doing now a little bit, right? A little bit. So Neo is good. I think I like to keep that one on deck. It can trade very well. It has traded very well actually the last couple of days. Some pretty good setups there. Baba also sold off very nice last week, guys. We took advantage of that. Beautiful drop here in Baba. Had the big rally again with some positive news. Today they're gapping down 5%. I actually like the way Baba's daily setting up compared to Neo. I love this daily here. You got a lot of action. You got the gap up, which we kind of cover on the gap down today. Yeah, I like what Baba's doing, and the volume is great too. So let's see what's going on there. All right, let's take a look at some more Tesla. I know a lot of you guys are going to throw this one out. This is another one you can look at. Again, it moves with the market overall in the SPY. So this could be a good one to watch. I don't think they have their own catalyst at this morning. I know Chinese factories and all that stuff have been opening up, and the lockdowns have been kind of easing up a little bit, so that's helping. But I just think the overall market is going to take this today. So you can watch Tesla. It's a good possible maybe.
Tesla's splitting, aren't they? Didn't I hear
yes,
that?
yes. I heard the rumor. I
Yeah,
heard
I
the
heard
rumor.
Friday. I think
Yeah.
they're applying for a split, a 3-for-1. So
Okay.
it's got a little
Okay.
bit of that there. I think it's yeah, they're seeking shareholder approval for a couple of things. One of them's a split 3-for-1. It'll be a little
Okay.
while before
Yeah.
that takes place, but
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. We'll see how that's gonna play out. Speaking of splits, let's look at Amazon. I saw also someone threw this out in chat. Will deal. Amazon here again, just taking a bit of a hit, down 4.4 this morning, 1.8 million. I think Amazon is a good one. Norm, I think you might be right. I
yeah,
think this one is
I think
changing. It's
yeah,
trading well, man.
yeah.
I was wrong and
I
think it
like
was
it.
going to go back, to some crazy trading, but it's trading very well. I think it's going to be a
Yeah,
good
I like
intraday
it.
stock for us. So
Let's hit announcements, dude, because
yeah,
we might have things that pop up. Right now, it's just a whole slide. And if somebody sees something with good info, then throw it out
yeah,
there. Let's get announcements out of the way because we might have some news that pops up as we get closer.
yeah,
And
absolutely. This list will definitely change. All right, guys, let's take you over to announcements here. Kind of give you a rundown what's happening this week.
all right. First, weekly rundown. Brian swing trade stuff 2:30 in the afternoons on Mondays, and Carlos for onboarding at 7, followed by Tech at 8. Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon, Eamon does trade reviews, success webinars Tuesday evenings, psychology Wednesday evenings, and then mentorship at 11, 4, and 8 on Thursdays. And as Chris said, yeah, thank you very much over on YouTube. If you would hit that that thumbs up, that like button, sincerely appreciate it while you're there. Also subscribe. You'll know when we go live at the pre-market show or any of the other videos come out. All right. Monday night tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Open to all member categories is the onboarding session with Carlos, 7 p.m. Eastern. Immediately followed by that is technology. This week, you've got Kyle talking about Dash Trader Pro Q&A. And then not next Monday because the market's closed next Monday for Juneteenth. But the following week will be Kyle with his Bookmap Part 2. Tomorrow night for strategy is Peter with Brian talking about the Rising Devil Fallen Angel strategies. And then the following week, next Tuesday, the 21st, 8 p.m. will be Andrew talking about his 1-minute opening range breakout trades. Hey guys, somebody kept bringing up FB as a ticker. FB is no longer a ticker. It's Meta now, META. Psychology Wednesday with Mike at 8 p.m. this Wednesday. And then also next week, he'll talk about anxiety while trading. Very real thing. Be sure to check that out. And no, he will not be passing out benzos. Mentorship on Thursday, John, 11 a.m. Ed 4. If there's any aftermarket earnings trades he'll be taking is at 4, and then his actual mentorship is at 4:30, and then Thor at 8. Don't forget about Stock Trading Simulator, our free web-based trading replay simulator at stocktradingsimulator.com. If you're watching on YouTube, Monday's always a great day to try out the room for the trial for a week. That way you can come in, do that onboarding that I was speaking of, and be set up for the whole week. So use the promo code PreMarket24. Just go to BearbullTraders.com, scroll down about halfway down the page. You'll see that intro join now button on the left-hand side of the membership category chart. Click that. It only bills you once. It does not recur. And then don't forget, if you sign up for the Elite Annual right now, we've got a limited number of slots for that Dr. Reed one-on-one coaching session. Use the promo code READ50 to get half off and the free coaching session.
All right, thank you, Norma. Appreciate that. Quick question we can answer here. So Anton is asking, if I have, disclaimer, I don't have this or I'm not stuck in this trade, but if I had shares of DD that were delisted and moved to OTC, how do you trade them in DAS? That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that, Norm. I don't know if you do.
I don't know for sure because I don't trade OTC stocks. I would imagine you'd still be able, even if it's delisted like that, you'd still be able to transact it.
Yeah, it's just to be
but you'd also be able to transact it through your broker, because you got to remember DAS is not the broker, so you could deal with that directly as well. If it's IB, you could call them, anything like that. So
yeah, your broker would be the best place to go because it might not reflect on IB. You're right, because you might not have the OTC connections with your broker, but your broker will have that info. So reach out to them; they'll give you some details and let us know how it goes. We'd love to know that information. All right, guys. So right now we have Coin, we have SQ, which again more of a possible for me. I think I have Apple on here, which is great volume. Apple, we have Apple, AMD, and Nvidia, all tech companies that we'll see how those are going to play out here. 1 second, guys. Let me switch over to this here, and we'll see how those goes. But I expect that to follow the cues and follow the overall market. I'm going to be watching the SPY and the cues very, very closely on a day like today. We also have Neo here, which is nice, great volume, 1.7. Baba also, Baba has great volume too, guys. 1.5 already this morning and trading very well. And again, I like their daily here. They've been getting some really good movement. Let's see how this downside is going to turn out today, if that's what we're looking to do here. And then Amazon getting to a nice level of support here that we've seen in the past. That is also looking very nice as well. SQ is bucking Bronco, play the move. Yeah, I agree. SQ, I am not a big fan of SQ. I don't trade it very well. I think they have some good opportunities, but there's been some people in our chat, in our members, Christopher, about that they can trade this very well. Brian was one of them that we used to trade this a whole lot in the past before they started getting, they were called black or whatever the case may be. It was Square at that time, and it was a really decent trading stock. Not great, but decent. Lately, I don't really trade them as much. So we'll have to see how this thing plays out. I think this is more of a possible. Like if you look at a Tesla, it's moving very well this morning. I just don't want to be too heavy on the tech side and the EVs here. CCL, let's see if that wakes up a little bit. And of course, NVIDIA and AMD as a possible. Then I have WFC, and I should also add JP Morgan, because JP Morgan does move very well. At times they are down, man. Everything is red besides these two knuckleheads over here. Everything is red. Everything is in the red this morning. Wow. So yeah, JP Morgan and West Fargo, I'll keep those two on here. Let me organize this a little bit. I'll move Tesla up, so I have the two banks together, and there we go. So yeah, a little bit of everything this morning, and today your list could look completely different. All you have to do is go down to your to the gappers list, go through the gappers list, and pick your favorites. Let's go through here now and see if we find anything that we haven't seen in a while. DKNG, that's being affected there this morning. They're down 5%. Not a whole lot of volume. Daily looks good. Also look for things that have an interesting daily. Like DKNG has an interesting daily here, though the pre-market is not beautiful. Interesting daily as far as breaking down from this 13. You have some room to run towards the downside. For example, if DKNG was breaking down here and it was stuck in the middle, it wouldn't be as interesting. You're kind of stuck within the range here, and you have a lot of resistance towards the top and bottom or support. It might not be the best thing. But if you have something gapping down from a range, from levels where you have some room to run here, that is a lot more interesting, right? So be picky as far as even seeing how the daily looks today, because your pre-market is going to look good. You're going to be gapping down nicely in some cases into the double digits like Coin, right? So look into other things that can make that stock a little more interesting for you. And then also preference, look at what you like so far. JP Morgan, yeah, I like JP Morgan today. I do like this drop here, and again, sitting at some levels of support here as well. Look at the last couple of days on JP Morgan, especially Friday. I mean, this is the story for everything on Friday, just dropping down there. So that looks interesting. All right, what else we have, guys? What else you guys have that maybe is not on our list? RD Redbox is on a second run. Shoe, yeah, I think Redbox is trying to get going, man. They're up 28%. And if you look at the daily, I mean, these guys ramped up from $2 just about 2 months ago, went to 11, struggle, came back to 10, 11 again, more downside. But again, look how the downside now is a lot higher than the previous one. And now you're ripping again here with some decent volume. So again, I would love to know how much of this fundamentals is moving this, or it's just memes, right? The meme action taking this thing over here to up 30% almost this morning with 5 million. And again, could be a bit of both, but for the most part, it is in play. I have it down here, but again, guys, I cannot stress enough how careful you have to be with this one. Look at this drop here, going from 18 down to 70. That is $1 drop, and at the market, it's only going to get more volatile as more volume comes in. So be very, very careful with that one. Can I scroll to the top? Yeah, Brett, we can scroll to the top on our scanners. Here we go. We got a couple of things up there. Mainly Bitcoin leading the way, guys. Bitcoin is down huge this morning. What is COGT? I know we looked at it. What is this? This is a bioscience there. So I think they had a split or something. Not a split, a reversal, whatever. So that's not great. INDO, we haven't looked at this in a while, man. Look at this thing. This thing just dropping here, down 11%. Sitting on the American Stock Exchange, I'm not a big fan of that at all. Okay, guys, we are set. Coming up on 9 a.m. Let's do levels. Let's do levels. And if there's something that looks completely off the wall, throw it back out to me. Oxy, Christopher, you're bringing up Oxy. I want to look at Oxy because Oxy's a good one. And they can trade very well. Last week they did some really good stuff. They were very, very clean. And Oxy here heading back down towards the top of the range we had in the past, right over here. So this is interesting. Volume not great, but that's okay because they typically don't get amazing volume. But I do like the way Oxy trades after the bell. So we'll keep Oxy on here. I do like that one very much. And you have MU, which I'm curious to see what MU is doing. Yeah, MU dropping, but again, it just doesn't move well enough like an AMD, like an NVIDIA. I think you have better luck with those. But the last couple of days, I mean, everything has not been immune to these drops that we're getting here. Look at the last couple of days there. Pivot bot alert is calling out Baba. Let's see, calling out Baba at S. There's an S6. I never heard of an S6. There's always S4, but there's an S6 today. Man, things are gonna be it's gonna be very, very interesting. So yeah, Baba is good, man. I really like Baba this morning. Down 5%, great volume. Definitely on top of my list today. All right, let's get to levels here. Let's start with coin. Just getting destroyed. Can you just think? And I know this does not apply to you guys because you guys are amazing traders and you know how to stop out and do great risk management. Can you think of holding here or being in at this at 340? And bag holding all the way to 47. I know there are some traders doing that. I know one or two of them, but man, that is rough. 47. Like there's no hope of this coming back up anytime soon. It is just such a massive drop, man. Wow, that is tough. All right, so here we have 47.06, guys. And then towards the bottom, we have 41.33. We'll slam a level there as well. High of the pre-market, we're looking at 55.98. That's good there. And then there's nothing towards the bottom, guys. This is your all-time low right there, from 300 and something to $43. That is your all-time low there. Towards the top, you got plenty highs and lows of the last two trading days and a couple of levels there. And then you also have the previous day close, which is doing a pretty good job on coin. But I got to tell you, although you have this huge drop on coin has been trading very, very well. Look at this pre-market activity. It's definitely changed the way it traded. It traded from back at 200, 300 levels. This $50 level under 100 has been trading very, very clean. So I'm not sure what changed there. So here is block SQ. I think they have some potential. I'm going to keep them on there. I might move them as a secondary, but for right now, we'll do levels. We'll be ready if this thing is going to take off. We have 66.42 is the low of the pre-market at the moment. Below that, the most recent low was about a month ago, 65. So we'll put a level there. High of the pre-market, we're looking at 69.55. And then towards the top, you got more levels there, highs and lows and previous day close. Now let's head over to the left here. We have not been down here in quite some time. We need to go to a weekly. Have we even been down here at all? I mean, yeah, we have. All right. So we're going back to 2020, obviously. Yep. So I'm on a monthly, actually. 2020, we'll do here 32.08 and we'll do 42.58. And then in here, you're going to have the weekly look very similar as far as these levels. You obviously have 60.15. You can see that is a nice level for them of support. Let's see if that's going to be something they want to test today. So that is a SQ there. Let's take a look at Apple this morning. Apple's a great one because I'm going to keep a close eye on this one. Whatever the market does, Apple's going to follow. So 132.54, you're set there. High of the pre-market, you're looking at 135.98. And then towards the left here, let's see what we got going on. Towards the left, if we look at some of these levels here, we're going back to 2021, May, June, July timeframe. Oh, too much. Let's zoom back in right around here. Yep, here we go. We do have something at 134. So 134.88 is decent. Towards the bottom, another great level here. This 131 is good too. 131.13. That is good there. And then you got the highs and lows doing a pretty good job as far as getting confirmation here on this consolidation that we had back in 2021. Looks like April. So all set there on Apple, guys. A couple of things towards the bottom there. This pre-market low is going to be very, very important. It's 132. We did have a nice bounce from that not so long ago, guys, about 3 weeks ago. So let's see. Are we going to hold this today? It's not looking so positive right now. Here is Neo, guys. Neo has been trading very clean as well. Tons of volume. Positive news all around for a lot of the Chinese tickers. That's not being reflected today, obviously, with the overall market. 1718 is the low of the pre-market, and you have 1654, which is a level down here as well. Towards the bottom of that, you do have 1551, and obviously 1437. So pretty good levels towards the bottom. I don't think we'll get down here. A lot has to happen for that to take place. But you do got 16, and you also have 1551, which can be very, very interesting. A couple of questions here. Let's see what we have. Today's going to be wild. Protect your. Yeah, I agree, Christopher. You got to protect yourself on a day like today. SQ is a huge inflation point on the daily. Today's going to be fun. I hope so. That's why I have it on here. I'm not a big fan of it, but I think today is gonna be a day where you can trade very, very well. Is the monthly chart newer addition to DAS? I don't have that option. No, you should have that option. It's not new. It's been here for some time. Just right click here on toolbar. Do they have it up here? They do not. So there is a way to add it here. You can change these things. I don't know how to do it. Don't quote me. Maybe I'm mistaken with something else. But either way, if you hit what is it? F6. If you hit F6, it's going to bring that up for you. And if you go to your hotkeys of files on Daytrader Pro, you can set up different time frames on different hotkeys if you like. But F6 is a default, unless when I upload it, had it like that. F6 will get you the monthly, but yeah, you have it here for sure. And I think there's a way to add it here too, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any of the moderators that know that there is a way to add more shortcuts up here, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll do F4, which will give you our daily, and F6 will give you your monthly. Try it out. Let me know if it works for you. All right, Apple daily. Yeah. Apple, I know. Apple is, man, it is on fire today. Yeah, definitely on play this morning. Right, anything else we might be missing, guys? I think we have a pretty decent list. We have levels for everything here. What do we miss? Neo has levels. Baba, let's do Baba, Amazon, and Oxy. I really like Baba this morning. Continue to make a new low. We lost this low here, which I'm going to mark down anyways. 104.23. That is good there. And then we have the market low right now, 103.51. Guys, careful with this. This thing is moving very, very aggressively. You do not need to take a lot of shares on Baba. You know, I know it's not a high price stock. It's only $100. So you can load up on your buying power, but you don't need to. You really do not. You could take a very reasonable amount and make some really good profits out of this, and also you know, working on managing some good risk there. 106.87 high of the pre-market. 99.49 is a good level towards the bottom there. We see a lot of support happening around that area, so that's good. Here, let me move this over a little bit. My mouse mat is trying to fall off the table. And then you have some highs here as well. And then you have your highs of the pre-market, then followed by highs and lows of the last 2 trading days towards the top there. So I'm doing pretty good so far on Baba. Love this gap down. We're at the bottom. I wish we would have been hanging out over here to kind of close this gap. We closed it already. That's not good. I would like to have been part of that move there. Let's see what it does. Amazon here, guys, trading very, very well. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I didn't expect for them to trade this well after the split. I thought the hype was going to be for a couple of days, but they're trading very nice, guys. So they're going to be on the list again today. 104 is the high of the low of the pre-market. 107, actually 108 is your high of your pre-market. So 108, 104, top and bottom. And then we do have 101.38 is the level here towards the bottom there. Towards the top, guys, highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, doing a decent job there. So Amazon is good. The last couple of days have been very, very nice towards the downside of good opportunities and very clean action this last couple of days. Here's Oxy, another one that also has been trading very well. We had a little bit of a consolidation happening here around 71.27 was the top of that. Couldn't get above that. The few times it did, it got slammed down. And today, below that, 71.31 highs and lows. Previous day close all the way down to today's action, which your low of the pre-market is going to be at 60.90. So 60.90 is your low of your pre-market. Below that, you do have a good level here at 57.27. Again, that's a stretch. I want a little something closer to the price action, and I think that's going to be around 59.57. If you draw a line there, guys, you see a couple of days bouncing off that, so I definitely want to have that on deck. So that is Oxy, that is Amazon. We have Baba, Neo, Apple, SQ, and we have Coin. We have a very, very good list. I see their moderators coming in with their list already. We have Thor, we have Dima, we'll wait for other moderators to come out and see what else we have here this morning. So looking pretty good today. Hope that is able to sort. Yeah, we will, AJ. We'll figure that out. We'll figure that out for sure. All right, guys. Anything else that's not on this list that maybe has its own catalyst? You guys have something that's, trading on its own news today? I mean, that's going to be difficult to find. I see ASTS is trying to make it into the green, but this is oh no, this is horrible. ASTS it's gapping up 7.3, 107, but this is just not good at all. What I like about Oxy today is that they're going to try the hardest to go bull today. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure many stocks are going to try to do that, especially the Chinese tickers, man. They just got positive news, right? They've been beat up so bad the last couple of weeks, months, whatever, with regulators and everything going on, the lockdown, and they finally get some positive news, and it's like, doesn't matter. So did they get the rally that they would have had here? I think we would have had a lot more fun on that rally with all these Chinese tickers, NEO, BABA, JD, towards the upside than it being stuffed here by the overall market. I think that would have been a better rally and opportunity for us. So but that's okay. We'll find something to do with these guys. EDU, I looked at EDU and we've seen this plenty of times in the past. I'm not a big fan of this educational company, New Oriental. So I just don't like the way they trade. It can be very choppy and spready at times. So I'm not a big fan of it. And a day like today, I think there's so many things. Like, listen, guys, if we were scraping to put a watch list together, right? Like we used to do probably 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. We used to go through this list here, and our gappers list looked more like this, right? Couple of tickers there. Well, if you guys remember, if you've been around long enough, we'll look at our top list from Trade Ideas, right? We'll go over the top gainers for NASDAQ, the movers, there were like 3 columns that we used to look for and scrape through that. And we'll get a list that looked, 6 tickers, no secondary, none of this other stuff, maybe a couple of low flow stuff, right? That's not the case anymore. I mean, there's so much stuff that's in play right now that's moving well that you can trade. I think EDU is one of those that, if you can trade it well and have some success, go for it. If this fall within your trade book, yes, put it on your list, but it doesn't fall within mine. And we're not scraping today, man. We have so many things we can look at this morning. Coin continuing to drop here, down 20%, losing the low of the pre-market here. Not fun. Let's look at the SPY here. SPY at the moment down 2.43 million shares. Again, we got a ton happening there. We're trying to hold. So May 20th, this is when we officially hit the bear market, right? May 20th. And we're flirting with that number right now. Market open is going to be a whole lot of fun. Let's see if this thing, are we going to get one of these rip your face rally today? Or is that going to happen on Tuesdays, turnaround Tuesdays, right? I don't know. It's going to be fun. What do you guys think? I mean, we're definitely extended towards the downside. We are definitely extended. How is IWM? I haven't checked. I should be looking at IWM as well. Let me put that on my list here. IWM. So what are we doing here? The same story, same dance. Down 2.5 as well. Again, it's just not looking too good at the moment. All right, we're all set, guys. Moderators coming in with their list. I'll read that out shortly as I do this and set this up for you. Hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. It does help out the channel, and we will really appreciate that. All right, let me get this over to you guys here so we can look at what's happening with our moderators, what they like this morning. So RFG, yeah, IWM looks very similar to it. Everything else is happening, the Qs, the SPY, and you can trade those. I'll definitely keep an eye on those this morning. All right, let's go ahead and move this over here. All right, let's bring over our moderators list right now, see what we have. Here we go. What are the news on coin? Well, Bitcoin is getting destroyed, right? That's the news on coin. If you look at BTC, which is Bitcoin, I mean, they're just getting hammered, guys. I mean, this thing was at 30. It hung out at 30 for a very long time there, almost a month. And then the last 2 days, it just have not been able to hold. They're down at 23,000. And this is coming from like, 48.50. I mean, it's just more than that. 48.50 was the most recent highs. I mean, we had a run on this thing that was just insane. And they're just getting crushed. And what's worst part is you have tickers like Coin, which came in probably at the worst time. They didn't have this rally, right? If you look at Coin's chart, they started at 300 and it's just been 300 all the way down. There's just nothing good about it. So their opening time was horrible. So they're just getting crushed. They didn't have this nice rally here. So anybody that is in Coin long term is hurting right now, because it's not like they were in cheap and made their way up to, you know, $300 and then back down or break even. No, they got in very high and are paying dearly if they're still in that thing. All right, let's take a look here. Moderators lineup this morning, guys. We are looking at Dima. She has Thor first. He has Baba, which I like this morning quite a bit. Spy, Q's, and the Pit Bottler. We have Dima looking at Coin, Baba, Oxy, and Apple. Great list there. Susan, Tesla, Apple, overall Spy, secondary list. AMD, Amazon, Nvidia, and Oxy. Very similar to what I have as well. I mean, these things are just, they're all in play today. Megan's looking at Oxy and AMD, Jared, Coin, Exo, M, and Tesla. Volatility ETFs this morning, which are going to be on fire, as we've seen already in the pre-market. So wait for more moderators to hit their list here, and then we will call it. Brian and Andrew are up next, trading live, guys. And we'll see how this market ends today. It's going to be exciting. Do not forget, cannot wait to see Artie's take tomorrow on the closing bell. So if you haven't hit that bell notification over on YouTube, please do so. Artie and Andrew are going to be live on tomorrow at 3:30 for closing bell. And I would love to always hear his take on the overall market and how things are going. And let's see what kind of conversation we're going to have tomorrow at 3:30 as well. Let's see. Are we going to be saying, hey, this market bounced back again like it has done the few times it sold off like this? Or are we going to say we are heading south, my friends? Let's see. All right. Let me see if more moderators come up with their list. 9:15. We'll get it ready to hand it off shortly here to our traders, Brian and Andrew. Rasila. All right, we're all set then. All right, perfect, guys. All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Welcome back to trading, first day of the week. And what an exciting day to start the week right here, guys. SPY down 2.2. Recap of our list: Coin, SQ, Apple, Neo, Baba, which I really like this morning. Amazon looking very good today as well. And Oxy, we have to wait for the market open for Oxy to get going, but the last couple of days have been really, really good. All right, guys, over on YouTube, thank you so much. We're going to head over to our chat and see Andrew and Brian trade live. Take care, guys. Have a good one.